What's going on, Pokemon Go trainers? Welcome to episode 70 of Lured Up, the podcast where we take Pokemon Go way more seriously than we do ourselves. Today is Sunday, March 17th, 2019, St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy day.
I'm your host, Ken Pescator, joined by my co-hosts, Adam Tuttle and Melissa Pescator.
You
What's
drinking
up, y'all?
anything green?
Hi.
No.
I ate Lucky Charms.
She did.
Lucky
I
Charms.
And today we're also joined by Famous from FLW Videos. What's going on, man? How are you? Thank you so much for coming on.
What is up, everybody? Definitely happy to be here.
Looking forward to getting to know you. Your videos, man, they've kind of positioned themselves as their own thing, and I think that's really cool how you're kind of fitting into the grand scheme of Pokemon Go content on YouTube. Is pretty cool. So we'll definitely dig into that. But a little housekeeping really quick. This podcast is powered by Patreon. Please check ours out over at patreon.com/gottawatchemall, where you can support this show for as little as $1 a month. And that $1 will get you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, which is a fantastic place filled with fantastic people.
It sure is.
And I want to give a huge shout out to our show supporter tier patrons. Hold on, I gotta take a deep breath. Brittany J, Jessica, Keith, Matt, M. Pitts, Terry, David, Chris, Sydney, Bacon L, The Noise, Harry, Pokenavbot, and Purple Pancakes. Thank you
That was
guys
impressive.
so much. Also, big shout out to Jennifer joining the Discord tier this week also. So thank you guys
Jen.
so very much. We appreciate it. Well, she's not in the Discord yet. I shot her the link. So hopefully
she needs to get up on that. You're missing out already.
Hopefully she's on. Hopefully she is on Discord, and we'll get
Yeah,
to
I
that.
just became...
On today's show, we're going to get to know FLW videos. We've got a couple announcements that came out from Pokemon Go Official with the Equinox event. That's going to be great. Deoxys
another
has changed.
event.
Oh, hey, another event.
Holy shit.
What do you know? Deoxys is changing forms with the next round of EX raids, so we'll kind of break into that. And then I want to get everyone's kind of feedback on the last two events that we kind of had wrap up since we recorded last time. The Legendary Lunch Hour and the Rayquaza Weekend, which is still going on right now, but by the time this show airs, it'll be wrapped up. So we'll talk about that. And then a fantastic article on Pokemon Go Hub about why do you play Pokemon Go? And I kind of want to talk about how they kind of lay this article out, strike up a dialogue kind of surrounding this, because I think there's kind of good and bad to potentially isolating yourself to a certain play style. And I want that's the kind of conversation I want to dig into. I think we'll have fun digging into that. So first,
Sounds like fun.
Famous, how are you, man? Please introduce yourself. Tell us about your channel. We'll start with the basics and then we'll go from there. How are you?
I am doing great. What is up, everybody? Typically go by Famous. FLW Videos stands for Famous Last Words. And like many other YouTubers, some way, somehow, you created it as a gamer tag and then it just kind of stuck. Unfortunately, I am that stereotypical person in that way. I guess a couple things I could cover is I actually play and live in Arkansas, so I think it gives me a little bit of a unique perspective playing from the rural side, which I think from a YouTube perspective, there aren't necessarily a lot of rural players, so I think I've really had to dive in and think very hard about the game and how I can overcome a lot of obstacles. So if I were to go ahead and summarize my channel, I'd probably go ahead and put it down into kind of two different categories. One of them is focused on the information side, where I take deep dives into Pokemon themselves, or just take a futuristic look as well. But the goal behind it is always to create a plan for everybody who watches my video so that you can kind of focus your resources. Coming from a rural standpoint, you really have to focus on what you're doing. You don't have like enough resources to be able to just kind of go willy-nilly into just anything and everything. So I definitely focus on that. And then the other side is just kind of like random stuff or niche type things. And then maybe some kind of like off the wall stuff. I definitely enjoy doing experiments. So those are kind of the things that I'm pretty much focusing on right now.
No, that's really cool. And I think that's interesting because I didn't even put together the rural thing, because the bulk of Pokemon Go content that I watch on YouTube is exploration and outside in these deep populous areas, where the gameplay is, thriving with activity. So, with your videos, you're like an editorial style, sitting at a desk, and it kind of makes sense now, learning that you're from Arkansas, because I'd imagine it's significantly different, the landscape of, what the in-game map looks like, in your area versus something like Santa Monica Pier or something like that. So I can appreciate how your videos, it like makes a little bit more sense now that you take the deep dives that you do on these topics because it's so relevant to your own gameplay.
Yeah, it's
and I think
necessity.
I think
Ken's
that's
talking
pretty cool.
about, this fast catch technique, and I'm sitting here like I want more details about it. So then I watch your videos, and then boom, I know everything there is to know about the fast catch technique.
I love covering that type of stuff. I just think it's interesting. Like, just imagine how cool it would be if you were the person to find out something like that.
Yeah, right? It's just like, I figured it out. Well, that's like the circle lock trick, like the Prodigy's Nation. Like, I still call it the Prodigy's Nation. Like, when I'm busting Melissa's chops that she doesn't use the circle
don't do
lock.
it.
I'm like, come on, you got to do the Prodigies.
I don't do it.
That's so funny. But
And I don't.
Yeah, he definitely popularized it on YouTube, but it was discovered on Reddit beforehand.
Yep, of course.
No, Reddit, oh my gosh, that is the source of so much information. So many people are so interested in these types of things, and they're just constantly testing it. And when someone thinks they have a theory, they'll go post about it, and then, hundreds of people are like, wait a minute, I think I can do this. And then all of a sudden, some method like that gets born.
Well, I think that's the beauty of the up and down vote system on Reddit is, the cream rises to the top very, very quick. You know what I mean? When someone posts something that's, super relevant, like it shows up real quick. I do want to talk about your team because I think you were one of the only content creators that I'm aware of that actually
did it. Yeah.
What?
You did it, man.
What did you do? Who are you first?
So I was actually on Team Mystic, and then I switched over to Team Instinct. But
Yes,
you actually pointed out. You actually pointed out at least one of the reasons why. So first off, I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm willing to bet that none of the larger YouTubers will do it. So if I actually go out there and do it, for one, that could provide a unique perspective on actually showing what it's like to switch teams, and then two, for myself. First off, I just picked Team Mystic because I like the color blue. I didn't know anything about it to begin with. And I started, like in the first day or two of Pokemon Go. So I didn't really have a grasp. And well, especially, I don't think anybody could really predict what it was going to lead up to now and how important it was to pick a certain team based on getting the different amounts of Premier Balls, for example. So switching over to Instinct, I have to say, it has definitely provided me a completely new perspective. I have to be so smart about how I raid because regardless of how good my team is, I'm probably getting 7 to 8 Premier Balls every raid, while other people just kind of clicking buttons are getting like 14 and 15.
Hey, that's me up here in New Hampshire.
I was gonna say, I'm sure Adam feels that.
I mean, I'm friends with everybody, so I get like 10 balls, but it's still not enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish I had
the
that
struggle.
14,
You know
15.
how important. You're like, wait a minute, I got to get people up to a best friend. Wait a minute, I need to try to organize some type of group. You start really thinking about it once you kind of get put into those situations. So it's definitely been a learning experience over the last couple of weeks.
And how weird has it been trying to like get used to like the appraisal system and learning the different lines? Like, does that throw you off
it
every
actually
time?
doesn't.
Yeah, I think Instinct's the easiest to understand.
Yes. I will say that. Mystic, I just learned it just because of, I guess, just doing it for so long. But when I switched over to Instinct, it honestly was very smooth. I don't know about Valor, but I mean, because think about this, guys. Like, I really try when I upload videos, I try not to do it from my own perspective. I try to really help out as many people as possible. So like I've looked at the chart to just learn it from everyone. So that way, if like people are talking to me at raids, like, yeah, it was a wonder, then I automatically know what it is just so I can be able to communicate with people better.
Sure. I'm glad you did it, man. I think that's kind of cool because,
I'm a little hurt.
I mean, hey, look, you didn't come to Valor, so, I mean, there's a problem there.
No,
but let's not talk about
Ken.
that.
Shh. Shut the hell up.
No, Adam, you could have this one, man. You could have this one. You have such little time to shine with Instinct. Like, enjoy it. Enjoy a new member.
I'm the only reason why I'm not upset is because he went to Instinct.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. If you went to Valor,
I'm
Yeah, that
really
might be
curious what the net change was. Like, did Instinct benefit the most from it, or did everybody from Instinct say, "Oh my gosh, I can finally, change ship"? But
Move to something different.
I'm really curious about it.
I was dropping my Pokemon in a gym, and I was feeding it berries, And then, because my girlfriend follows me, and she's in the car behind me, and so we have a thing where, you know, I go off to one gym and she goes to the other one, and then she takes that one and I take this one. That way here, like, we don't clash. She pulls up behind me and I'm feeding berries, and almost like, all of a sudden there's 2 Pokemon in the gym, and I was like, what? And then I click on the Pokemon and she switched teams without saying anything to me.
Oh, what a reveal. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. How much more can you be into somebody?
That's
I was
dedication
like-
right there.
Touche.
But you know what? She's looking to benefit herself. I don't blame her.
This is
She's
true,
got-
yeah,
she
because I
needs
take...
a-
Now
she
you get
needs
extra
another
bonuses,
person
man.
to-
You get
to
some
rate
extra
with. Yeah.
Premier balls. Oh, that's awesome. All right, Famous, what about your history with Pokemon prior to Pokemon Go? Like, were you into Pokemon franchise at large before Go came out?
Yeah, so I was definitely most into it upon the launch. And I had like all the trading cards and everything. And I also picked up the blue copy first while my brother... Wait. No, we're all good. I've heard you guys talk about this so much on the podcast.
I knew it was coming. Adam was going to be excited and disappointed.
Yeah, so I got blue. I have a younger brother. He ended up getting red. So we got it split. And then once yellow came out, got that. But I honestly, kind of went that route. But I probably fell off at about Gen 3 or so. But before I actually started covering Pokemon Go content, I was covering some Pokemon related stuff, just in general related to the card game from a collector's perspective.
Nice.
So at least we got that going. I mean, so I was pretty familiar with probably up to Gen 3, and then occasionally I would try to get back into it and just kind of like play some older stuff. Like for anybody out there who's used like the simulators on your phone and just playing the ROMs just to, play a game or some random variation of a Pokemon game that just completely changes it just for fun. I've definitely kind of like dabbled in that over the time period.
Yeah, I've never done like a Nuzlocke run or anything like that, but I don't know if I have the patience. I'd probably end up smashing whatever device I was playing on into smithereens.
I don't even know what that is. So.
That's like when you play a run through of a game. Like I say, all right, I'm going to play Pokemon Yellow, but I'm going to play it under some significant conditions that can't be broken. And one of the main Nuzlocke tropes is if a Pokemon dies, it's dead. Can't get it back. No revives. Can't heal it. Nothing. You lose it, it's gone. So it's just like a rule bending way to re-engage with the game. It's kind of cool.
Okay.
So, what motivated you to start a channel? Like, before Pokemon Go, and you said you were covering some Pokemon stuff, what motivated you to start making videos? And then, was it, when Pokemon Go came out, did you know right away that you needed to get into content creation for Pokemon Go? Or how did that transition happen?
Yeah, you guys are going to think this is crazy because I don't, as far as all of the other podcasts that I've heard, I haven't really heard anything like this. So, I actually started my channel in 2008.
Okay.
And
all right, so 11 years.
yes, and
Doing
so
what?
I was somewhere in...
How old were you?
I was in middle school. I think I was like 13, 14.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was a completely different climate. There was not even monetization on YouTube at the time period. It was literally just a place for you to upload just random videos and to just kind of like have fun with it. So that's how I started, and like one of the first videos I ever put up on YouTube ended up getting almost 1 million views off of doing some prank video as a 13-year-old, on this new site. And I was like, and get this, I had uploaded a bunch of videos, but I had kind of left YouTube, sporadically. And then I ended up signing in like 3 to 4 years later to find out that I had amassed like 5 million views off of all these videos, and I'm getting hundreds and thousands of comments. And I'm like, what happened? I literally had no clue that my channel actually had traction until like 4 years later. It was absolutely crazy. So I got on, just to mess around, just to hang out with friends, just to make, fun little videos. Like we would do pranks and stuff. I don't know if any of you remember the invisible rope prank where you just pretend to hold a rope across the road.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course.
So I was one of the first people to actually upload that on YouTube. There was only like maybe 1 or 2 other people. And so I kind of, blew up from that perspective without even knowing it. And then come to find out a couple
so
years
funny.
later, several million views, and none of it monetized. And yeah, so it was
That's so
definitely
cool.
an interesting beginning, but
So we need a link to this original video. That's all I'm saying. I need to see this because our kid does stupid videos on YouTube all the time.
Dude, my son has a YouTube channel, and we made some videos years ago, and he's got a couple videos with more than 2 million views each. It's like it doesn't make
it's
sense.
insane.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happens. And then I'm sure all of you have kind of found yourself getting recommended videos that are super, super, super old. And then you're like, okay, I'll check it out. And then the first thing you see is, commenting in 2019, commenting in 2018. I've been recently getting that on that video, which is just hilarious to me that people are still finding it. But yeah, I'll definitely send it to you. But
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, be ready for some new
oh
hits.
yeah, you'll love it. As far as like transitioning into Pokemon Go, what really motivated me was taking a look at the Pokemon Go creators, what they were providing, what they weren't, what they were good at, what was being covered. So like, for example, initially I saw so many people vlogging and I thought, well, I've got to be, to be successful at Pokemon Go, I have to vlog. But then, like I said, I'm like, well, wait a minute, I live in a rural community. I don't really have anything to vlog. What am I going to do? Vlog 2 Pokestops that I have to drive 20 minutes away to go look at? And I'm like, I can't compete. I'm like, there's no way I can compete from that regard. So, I honestly just started it because I said, okay, what is something that I am good at that I could potentially kind of carve out a space? And for me, it had to be like processing a lot of information and trying to present it in a very condensed way. So it was just, hey, I don't know if this really exists here. I think I can do this, and I don't think anyone would be able to do it better than me, so why don't I just try it? And it was rough at first, but over time it definitely started improving itself, and I started, kind of creating a formula, which definitely helped a lot.
You said it perfect, like how you kind of carved this like this spot out for yourself, because I think that your videos are that different. Because what I've learned to be so used to with Pokemon Go content is that cinematography and all that kind of like grandiose stuff. And we've talked about this before with our previous guests, how that's really a draw. But, now I find myself watching like YouTubers with 5,000 or less, subs that are just doing these like gritty ass PvP videos in like mom's basement. And it's like, I'm so fucking into it. It's like, this is awesome. Like, and I've kind of, every so often musically, I do the same thing. Like I'm like an old school hardcore guy. So it's like every so often I'll go from like big production music to like real shitty garage rock and stuff like that, and I used to work in the music field in A&R, so I could look past production. So I've kind of got caught up in the high production value stuff on YouTube, and it's really cool to see this resurgence of people that are just getting out there and shooting on their phone. But the content is so freaking great that it makes no difference that like their cat is jumping on them and, the lighting is shit, and, they're out of focus. Like it doesn't even matter. Like I think that's, because that really proves that.
Yeah. It's the content that
is
matters and the quantity. Just keep pumping it out and good content.
Keep pumping that shit out. Yep.
Well, what I was going to say is like, for the most part, you guys kind of like hit the nail on the head. There was just mainly one subgroup. And I think what kind of happened was, at some point people said, hey, the cinematography is great, but there's certain times that I just literally want the information, or, I gotta like, wait a minute, how does this work? This is way too detailed. And I think that kind of need just ended up kind of arising on this other completely different sector, and it's starting to grow. I think a lot of people, especially if you've been watching YouTube content for a long period of time, you have it stuck in your mind that, there are these cinematographers, there are these, certain people who are maybe the bigger YouTubers, and you might have 5 or 6 names in your mind, while everyone else is just kind of like growing up and doing their own thing. And then all of a sudden you look over and you're like, wait, this existed? Oh my gosh. And there's this whole like subset of people. It's kind of like, it's almost underground to some extent. It's crazy.
Ken and I go down those rabbit holes all the time.
Dude, that's like Matty F. Baby. I'll give him a shout out. He like sits at his dining room table and just like points like a, will film his phone with another camera, and like it doesn't look great and everything. I watch all his videos, like every single one. Every time it uploads, like I don't have notifications on for nobody. I got notifications on for Matty F. Baby right now because his videos are fun as hell, and the dude is out there, man. He's really cool. So it's like it really does make a difference with content. And I think what's cool with your videos is they become almost like a destination video where the vloggers and the cinematographers and that kind of style thing, it's like it's a daily recurrence, and you're going there and watching it like the news. It's just it's a habit-based thing. And I think with some of your videos, it's so focused and destination, like, oh my God, someone has a question, fast catch, how the hell do I do that? Type it into the search bar in YouTube, your video comes up, and in 6 or 7 minutes, they know what the hell they were searching for, and they're off of YouTube and out playing. And I think that's the kind of difference that your videos are kind of providing a real nice resource for players, because they're able to search on something on YouTube, find a great video, watch it, and within 10 minutes they're back out and playing. I think that's really cool. And you don't necessarily get that with other videos because you got to wade through a lot of lights and colors.
Content.
Which is just different. It's a totally different style, different vibe. And that information might be in those videos, but it's going to be woven into, that whole vlog style. So the editorial thing, I appreciate.
Yeah, this is pretty, your videos are direct and to the point.
I get that comment all the time. And that's the goal. Like, legitimately, I to myself, if I were to say like what motivates me to do this, it's to honestly help as many people as possible and to try to get to the point and make it about the content itself, about Pokemon Go. Because like I had mentioned to you offhand, I don't really want to focus on myself. I want to, provide a resource for people to, focus on the game, which is what we all have in common. That's why we're all here, is for this game. So I've just taken the personal strategy to just kind of like focus the game beyond myself or my experience. It's
clear with your videos the direction that you had with the style of shooting them and getting the information out. So it's awesome. Well done there. So talking about niche videos, and you're saying off the wall things or one-offs or specific information, I think when it comes to PvP, your style of video is very relevant, because when it comes to PvP, there's a lot of people that have very direct questions. Who do I use? What do I use? What should I do? How do I do it? Those kind of questions. Yeah, how pivotal do you think PvP is to the future of Pokemon Go content on YouTube? Because I think that this is quite the rabbit hole that, creators can fall down, but also consumers.
Oh man, it's been it's honestly messed with me a little bit, because I want so desperately to cover PvP content and to cover more niche topics, kind of like you said, a lot of the smaller channels are doing, and it makes a lot of sense for smaller channels to cover that type of content. And they're probably getting, maybe 1,000 views, 2,000 views, maybe even up to 5 or something like that. But I basically have enough time to edit either 2 to 3 videos a week. So I have to decide. I have to really pick, what do I prioritize? What is the biggest bang for the buck? How can I help the most people possible? And so, unfortunately, PvP content on YouTube, it's just taken a back seat because of some shortfalls, in my opinion, on PvP, and some barriers, especially related to like Stardust cost, and also not being able to battle with your friends or know when they're online. So there's just been a lot of, there's just been a lot of things. I do think it could have been pivotal. Let's just say that. And I think it still has the opportunity to, but I definitely don't think it necessarily made a difference, at least right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people that cover it, and they've overtly been discussing like, hey man, like the views are just way down on the PvP videos. Like it's like people are asking for the information, and then they make the videos and no one's watching them or no one's going back to them. So it is interesting.
Tough. It's very tough. I actually just had this conversation with PokeAK, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, I enjoy PvP. I want to cover it. People want it, but it's almost like it's such a niche group who plays PvP, and I personally think if you play it, you will enjoy it, but there's just some barriers that need to be lowered so that the majority can enjoy it to its fullest.
Well,
I think matchmaking.
Yeah, once they make it easier for us to access our friends in battling, it'll open the door wider for everybody to cover it.
Yeah, well, I think that'll, people are struggling to make their 3 battles a day for the rewards. Like they're saying, hey, we're going to give you rewards. All you got to do is play 3 times a day, and people aren't doing the 3 battles.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten the 3, or maybe even 1 a day.
Say what? What?
The only time I ever actually play is when people tag me in our Discord, or if you after the podcast.
Every week when we're done recording, we talk like schoolgirls till 2 in the morning.
It's so stupid. We don't do it.
And we did battle last weekend.
We didn't.
Yeah, it almost feels like it's become just another checkbox that we have to do on a daily basis.
Yes,
and
that's 100% how I feel.
It's not fun. Like, if it was fun, we wouldn't be talking about, oh man, I got to go get my battles done. It's like a chore now, is how it kind of feels with everybody.
Well, you know why? Because the reward isn't a guaranteed great reward. Like when you're just getting 500 Stardust, it's like, fuck you. I don't want to I'm not going to waste my time for fucking 500 Stardust.
They did add in TMs to the pool, though, and that is a major
nice.
plus.
We were just having this discussion in our Discord about Smeargle, and now how Smeargle is just one more thing to add to your daily routine of panicking at 11:30 at night, oh shit, I didn't collect gifts, I didn't send gifts, I didn't, I got to do Smeargle, I got to do my trainer battle, I got to do, all the stuff that you forget to do and you try to get in the last, 10 minutes of the night every night. We do that shit all the time, and it's it is just one more thing. So I feel you on that, but it's I think when matchmaking comes, it's gonna blow the doors open, and I'm optimistic. It's confirmed. I'm confirming it right now.
Yeah, there was some code that was discovered related to matchmaking. So, I would definitely say it's got to be in the process. When will we get it? I'm not really sure. There's just some, I don't even know if you guys knew this, but I actually noticed this today. So, if you get a lucky Pokemon, it only cuts the Stardust in half for powering it up and not for the new move.
Right, yeah, right.
What the heck is that? That would be an amazing incentive to cut the Stardust in half based on unlocking a secondary move. That would be great.
The second moves are expensive as hell, too. Yeah. No, that's... Yeah, I knew that, but I didn't really, think of the ramification of it. But, yeah, that sucks.
Once again, a rural player, we don't have that much Stardust. But in a weird way, PvP actually is the fairest thing possible because the people who I'm going against also play in the same area, which is kind of an interesting concept. But if we were to go up against someone globally, we would get absolutely tore up. We don't have the resources to be able to unlock secondary charge moves for, something that costs 75,000 Stardust or 100,000 Stardust with the legendary. So it's definitely unique playing as a rural player for sure.
Yeah, I hosted a Tempest Cup today. I run tournaments for a couple different communities in my area, and we were making jokes because Quagsire is really popular in the Tempest Cup meta, and I was busting chops with one of the guys there, and I was just, because we were following along. These guys are really serious. They do tons of mock battles and all this stuff. And I'm reading their, along in the Discord, and it's like, dude, you just sunk 150,000 Stardust into Quagsire. How's that feel, man? He was just like, yeah. He goes, I know. He goes, and then I decided that I wanted to use a Mantine at the last minute. And then she dropped 100K, right at the tournament before, registering.
Can't do it.
So
I just can't do it.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of Stardust. Ever.
You guys are kind of pointing out something that eventually, I think if I do cover PvP, I may want to cover this. And it's kind of talking about the budget options instead. So you mentioned Quagsire. Yes, it's great, especially because of Stone Edge. But at the same time, there are some other Pokemon like Wishcash, which is kind of like the discount version of it. And it only costs 10,000 Stardust to unlock the secondary charge move.
Yeah.
The budget version.
Yeah, that's a great point. And sometimes when we do our battle parties, I'll toss in a couple budget counters in there too. But someone like Skarmory's been able to be a part of the meta for the last 3 months with the Silph Arena. So that's a perfect Pokemon because you can use it from meta to meta. That's when you're really getting a high bang for your buck. So it's like there's a lot of crossover when it comes to that, and that's when you can really maximize the usage. And it was, good on Silph Arena for even saying with the Tempest Cup, all right, we're going to put ground back in to, give you guys a little bit of a break, because we know you spent so much dust on it last time around. So they, at least they're being reactive to that. But yeah, man, I think that PvP has a ton of potential, and I really do think that matchmaking is going to be the one thing that really opens it up to the masses.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think it has the most potential as a feature for sure. It's just one of those things, like, I legitimately don't think it is that bad. I just think that there are a couple of things that gets a sour taste in people's mouth where they're like, wait, I really had to pay 75,000 Stardust to unlock a move for this Pokemon with 1,400 CP that I'll never use in anything else. And you're just like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to there is no way I'm going to do that. And then you just go raid with your friends or, do something else.
Yeah, or like power up your Mewtwo. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it's like something that just feels better. No, I did the same thing. I have a Medicham, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the one for PvP. And then like it was super low level, and then like as I'm sinking all the dust into it, I'm like, oh my god,
this wasn't a good decision. I'm regretting
like,
this.
This is a long haul. I'm like about to run out of candy. I'm like, I can't believe it, because I'm sitting on like 5 million Stardust right now.
Oh
but
my god.
but still, it still hurt to spend 100,000. That shit hurt.
Yeah, I'm sitting on about 100,000.
Adam, what do you got right now? Probably like 200.
Oh god, hang on.
Like
Power
200. That's it. Charlie Bucket. We'll come back to that. What do you think about Harry Potter Wizards Unite, man? You think this is going to have an impact on Go?
It'll be interesting. I think that the fact that it is going to be at least a little bit similar, I think that the transition over to it should be pretty fluid. Like, I could just imagine every Pokemon Go player who is at least interested in Harry Potter going, yeah, you know what? I'll give it a shot. It may not necessarily like hold a lot of Pokemon Go players. If we could somehow play both at the same time, that would be amazing. But I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess you could if you're, two different.
That's what I
phones
try
or
to
whatever,
do with my, because I have a phone for work, so it's like I'll try to rock Ingress,
Ingress,
on
yeah,
my work
exactly.
phone.
So yeah,
and it's like
I just not thought
it's
about
hard.
that, but
It's
it
hard.
should be interesting.
Ingress, you can be driving and kind of like hit stops. Wait, I'm not supposed to say that.
I-
But if you have the Go Plus going, you can do that at the same time. So it's like you can technically play both.
Right.
But how are you going to play all three?
I'll definitely
have the
make
Go Plus.
I'll make a prediction on this. I actually think it will be a bigger launch than Pokemon Go was in 2016. And I can at least I'll give you the reason why. One, people are going to be as interested in Harry Potter as they probably are for Pokemon. And then secondly, there's so many Pokemon Go players who would definitely be willing to give that a shot as well. And I think with both of those uniting, there's already a player base they're willing to play, and then there's a new potential player base who's definitely willing to just jump in there, as a craze thing. I think it could be bigger.
Man, that'd be sick. That'd be crazy. I mean, good on Niantic if it is, but I mean, the gameplay looks pretty freaking
think
cool.
about it. Like, think about how much development they have done with Pokemon Go, how much development they have done with Ingress. Their starting point on Wizards Unite is so much higher than Pokemon Go, when it was just, you can get out there and catch the first 151. Well, not even all of them really, but it was just so simple. But as you've seen with some of the trailers and stuff, and you just know that Niantic has just done so much development, the starting point for Wizards Unite is going to be light years ahead of the start of Pokemon Go. So I think the retention will immediately be better.
You're right. I'm definitely going to download it and try it. I mean, I think on Android you could pre-register now in app. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Let's find out.
I pre-registered online to get like the link on iOS when it comes out, but I believe you can actually do it on Android now.
Yeah,
so
I've already done it. I think they just opened it up like a week ago or so, like mid-March.
All right, cool, man. Let's get into the news a little bit. We got a couple things that have gone on over the past week that I want to unpack here.
News.
Adam, you want to take us through the Equinox event that was announced? And we're definitely going to do some inappropriate speculation on this one as well.
So basically, they gave us a big giant picture that popped up in game, and it's an oddish. So you're pretty odd. You're pretty odd
That seems
if you
odd.
don't think
Yeah.
that that's going to be the shiny, because that is the only thing that, like, I'm sure there's going to be a second one, but I know oddish. Oddish is the shiny.
They haven't announced it, though.
They haven't announced it, but
I
I've
think
announced
that makes
it.
sense. I think it makes sense for sure.
I've announced
Right?
it. Well, you are the shiny king.
So I'll get one in
The
the first
second
like
one
10
would
minutes.
be interesting, though. I've been thinking Execute would actually be the second one because of Executor having the Alolan version. That is fairly common in raids as well, so that could be an opportunity to
Give it
potentially
the
get
shiny,
the shiny
yep.
from there.
Wow. but
Yeah, that'd be
that's
cool.
so cool.
That'd be cool.
So Lunatone and Solrock, they will switch their regions. They will switch their location locks. Grass-type Pokemon are going to be available in raids. Grass-type Pokemon will be available in field research. We're getting 2 new moves. Acid Spray, which Arbok, Victory Bell, Tentacruel, Muck, Alolan Muck, Quagsire, Quillfish, Octillery, and Swalot can know. It lowers the target Pokemon special defense, so another stat-bending move.
Well, that's in the main series games it does. So they haven't announced what it's gonna do in Pokemon Go yet.
Hopefully.
But in the main series, it lowers special defense.
Yeah.
We don't have special defense
It'll
in
be a
Pokemon
debuff.
Go.
We also
Yeah,
don't
it'll be
have
a debuff move.
lowering accuracy, but Leaf Tornado, Victory Bell, and Shiftry can know, which in the main series lowered the target Pokemon's accuracy.
Right. So I'm sure they'll somehow just make this, attack defense kind of thing where I don't know if they'll do the 100% thing, kind of like, what we saw last time around, or if they go back to like the Ancient Power thing where it's a 10%, proc. Who knows?
Increased spawns of Oddish, Execute, Sunkern, Shroomish. So, if you didn't have a shiny Sunkern,
I think the Oddish Execute shinies.
this is the time.
I like the idea because think about it, like Alolan Executor, it would only be obtainable through the raids, exactly like Alolan Marowak was. And then at the same time,
and Alolan Raichu.
And Alolan Raichu. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of that concept because it provides you 2 different sources. You could go Execute Executor route, or you could go the Alolan route. So I don't know. I think it serves multiple groups, and it's already been done before. So in my mind,
sense.
it really seems like it would be. I would be very surprised if it was Shroomish because of Breloom getting that special move Grass Knot a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
I just think people would be
something.
so annoyed by that if they can't get the most ideal moveset from the grass type perspective and have it be shiny.
Right. It's like, what good are you? Useless.
Useless.
But a lot of people were kind of, hustling and bustling that, Leafeon was going to come. That's kind of the rumor mill.
Wait, Leafeon's
but,
coming?
Wait, what?
Confirmed.
Yeah,
Leafeon
no,
confirmed.
it definitely would have made sense. I mean, if I was designing this event, you could bet, I would definitely make Leafeon be kind of the number one. But the tricky part about that is we already have some EVs. Maybe all of you have kind of held some shiny EVs specifically for this. But as we know, a lot of the evolutions aren't available in the wild. So it'd be kind of tricky to see what they would do with it. But I don't know. I was kind of surprised, to be honest. I thought that they would, do something with it.
It's got to come soon. They got to release it eventually. Like, who knows how they're going to do it.
Yeah, Magnezone is another one that I thought would already be here that isn't.
With Magnezone, though, I could see it just being just another Sinnoh evolution. But with Leafeon, I hope that they handle it a little bit different. Like,
They
I hope
definitely
that
should. It'd be smart because
Yeah.
they definitely kind of, I don't want to use the word clout, but I guess they definitely have the ability to really be the focus of an event. That would be a ton of fun, especially, if they did something like the Leafeon and Glaceon pairing. That would be a ton of fun. People would absolutely love to do something like that, but I'm just not really sure how they'll handle it. It's very interesting because we've already gotten an EV Community Day, so now people are like, well, would they make another one, or what are they going to do? I don't know. I thought the Equinox event was going to be the answer, but as we see, it apparently is not.
Yeah, but maybe
It's
they
not
have a
this
trick
time
up their
around.
sleeve. Maybe they just or they'll do what they do
They
sometimes.
always like to pull.
No, but they won't
fucking
even announce
strings
it.
at the last minute.
We'll
Yeah,
find
exactly.
out. We'll find out. Then it's like you have to go to the
It's
internet
like the
to
day
find
before. They're like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, see, I
That
feel
is
like
very true.
Magnezone would be a community day.
I would like for it to.
See, it's just weird because they already released Magnemite, and I don't know if that's why they took it away in game for a little while. Because they were like, oh,
about the
let's
shiny?
limit
Shiny,
people
yeah.
for the shiny.
Oh, that shiny's so cool.
So then we'll give it
I
to
love
Yeah,
that shiny.
Yeah.
Because it's the only,
there's
it's
a-
the only one
there's
that
a
makes
field
sense.
research to get in Magnemite.
That or routes
I need
For
that
community
shiny
day.
route.
Yeah.
after this one.
After Trico.
After Traco.
Trico's definitely interesting because people are kind of speculating whether or not it's going to be Frenzy Plant because of its Mega Evolution being part Dragon type. People are like, well, wait a minute. What if it pulls an Ampharos and ends up getting some type of Dragon type move instead?
Exactly.
It stresses me out because I'm like, oh, I just want to know what the move is so I can make a guide for it. That's the only thing I need to know, you know?
You need the inside line.
I need to prepare, damn
more.
it.
I have to wait.
All right, let's jump over to Defense Form Deoxys. This is going to be the news coming from PokemonGoLive.com.
Yeah, you just turn it sideways. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yeah, it looks like Kenny from South Park, like with the hood tied real tight. That's what it looks like.
I think Trainer Tips did a funny thumbnail
his thumbnail
like that,
is
and I actually
awesome.
thought of the same thing too.
It's going to be starting March 25th. I believe that if you rated at EX Gyms during Legendary Lunch, that will count towards passes for Defense Form Deoxys that will come probably tomorrow, Monday the 18th. That's when the passes will drop. So hopefully we'll see that, because I hit a shit ton of EX Gyms on my Legendary Lunch Hour, and I hit a bunch today too.
Good. Maybe
But,
I can steal some of those passes.
Like you do every time. Thank you
Yes.
very much. Defense Form can be trioed under the right conditions if you have some stacked encounters. If you have 3 Shadow Ball Gengars in the fog with best friends and all the stars are aligned, you could probably trio this. But realistically, it's a 4 to 5 person high level trainer raid. I don't want to get into a battle party because we've actually talked about Deoxys twice already with the normal form and the attack form. So we'll do a little itty bitty battle party.
Mini battle party?
A mini battle party. But info is going to be coming from PokemonGoHub.net. Whoop, whoop. It's, of course, the typing and all that stuff is exactly the same psychic typing. Weak to Bug, Dark, and Ghost. Gengar really is your number one counter here with Shadow Claw or Lick and Shadow Ball. Weavile with Feint Attack, Foul Play in the dark side is going to be good. Mewtwo with Psycho Cut, Shadow Ball is going to be good. Honchkrow, Banette, Tyranitar are good as well. But really, Gengar, if you have it, Gengar with Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, that's going to be your best bet here. Have you been doing with EX passes? Now, Famous, on the EX side, being a rural player, how hard is it for you guys to like trigger an EX raid?
Well, this is kind of the interesting thing. It's not that we can't trigger it. I actually, like where I live, there's 2 that are side by side from each other. But what a lot of us have struggled with is the time that the EX raids a lot. So they'll typically be 2 in the afternoon in the middle of a weekday.
Yep.
And so I'm like sitting there going, okay, this has to be the 10th one in a row that I can't go to because it's during work hours. And I'm not even raiding during those hours. And it still keeps, recommending those times. So unfortunately, a lot of people get them and they don't attend them.
Yeah, it's happened to me. It
sucks.
happened to me the last time. It was like, I have Fridays off, so if it happens to drop on a Friday, I'm lucky as hell. But if it's a Thursday, it's like, what the hell am I gonna do? It's like I can give the pass to Melissa and then she can go. But that's it.
But let's be honest, she's not actually gonna go.
I go half the time.
She's not gonna go.
Maybe a quarter of the time.
Maybe just never.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. We have to definitely think about things differently. So that's why I've really tried to provide some constructive criticism. And it's not necessarily that I have, Niantic's attention by any means, but it's just to kind of get the community thinking about some fundamentals like, why do we do it this way? Or why is it this way? And kind of convincing people like, just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean it doesn't affect everyone as like a global community.
Well, I think Niantic, the Eye of Sauron, also known as Niantic, their social media presence and their presence around the community at large online, I think has drastically improved over the past couple months. They seem to be very, very open and responsive to feedback lately, and it's really cool. So if people are willing to take the time to draft a high-quality, well-versed, not asshole-laced, response of feedback to an event, they're going to listen, and they're going to take that and potentially even respond. Building these constructive criticisms on events like this, or even like the Legendary Lunch Hour, they're saying, hey, we're trying to be proactive here. This is an experimental event. We're giving it a try.
Yeah,
Let us know what you
That's
think.
awesome. That's something that we would have never heard of, a couple of years ago. So the fact that they are willing to at least experiment and try new things is easily one of the best decisions that they can make. Sure, it may not be the best idea, but it doesn't really matter right now. It's that they are open to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the direction they're heading.
Yeah, and they're saying we want to know what the community thinks, and we're going to hit all these different areas of the community and try to provide for them, and let us know if it works, let us know if it doesn't. But if it doesn't work, don't be a dick. That's
Bear with them, man.
But no, let's talk about these two events. So the Legendary Lunch Hour was great. I really, really benefited from it in my area. I went 5 for 5 during the lunch break. And the best part about it, in my opinion, was I had a big-ass group. We had 15 people, and I only knew one person. So I raided 5 raids in a row with 14 people that I've never raided with before. And it was fantastic. Also, shout out to one of our patrons, PokeNavBot, the Discord that is in my area of where I work, which is 50 miles away from where I live. They use PokeNavBot, so I actually used it for the first time on Legendary Lunch Hour using that tool as raid coordination, and it was awesome because every other Discord that I'm in is running MouthBot. So I'm so used to that, and the PokeNavBot was awesome and very refreshing. So shout out to you guys. And then I look on Patreon and they become a patron. I was like, holy shit, this is so timely. It's so crazy. But yeah, really, really cool tool. But I absolutely loved lunch hour. I mean, I would normally take my lunch break at 3 or 4 o'clock and maybe hit 1 or 2 raids if people happen to be in the area. So it was really nice having this concerted effort of people meeting at one location and just kind of, there's a giant park by my job and literally everything lit up. There was even a raid. There was an Alolan Executor raid that was active during the 12 o'clock window, like when it turned 12 o'clock. So it ran about 10 minutes over. And then as soon as that raid ended, it turned into, an actual Dialga raid as part of the Legendary Lunch Hour with a 10-minute timer. So it was just fucking raids everywhere. It was great. It was glorious. How did it work for you guys? Were you able to hit any? Adam, did you get out? Or?
I had to work at 3, so I was able to attend the entire hour.
Oh,
and
nice.
The way that my rural area is with downtown, everything is in order, and we'd be able to hit the EX raids and get as many in as possible, but there were 3 or 4 raids going on, and they were tier 1s, 2s, and 3s. And I'm just and they were just in the correct spot where it just was too time consuming to stop for one when there could have been 3 in a row, or it just didn't work out. So we were able to hit all 3 EX gyms. And
that's
then,
huge, though.
And then
that's
2
huge.
of
You only have an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's huge.
And it's that, boom, done. That's my rating. If I get an EX pass, I get an EX pass. That was the goal.
Yeah, we didn't have anybody doing it.
Oh, that's rough.
It doesn't work. I don't know. I heard so many people speaking about it, mostly from a YouTuber perspective, and they're Legendary Lunch Hour was great. This was perfect for all the 9-to-5ers. And as soon as I hear someone say that, I'm like, I know you don't work in the corporate environment, because nobody works 9 to 5. It's 8 to 5 or 7 to 4 or 9 to 6. It's definitely more time than that. So for myself, just imagining going out for an hour, I mean, I would say that I'd probably go eat lunch during my lunch break. As weird as that sounds. So to be able to substitute that for a raid, some people are yeah, it was X. So I'm maybe if you had 2 hours to do it, I could see how that would make sense. But to be honest, if there was an improvement to it, I'm not saying making, an evening event. I honestly just wish there would be more legendary spawns in general across all times, as opposed to maybe any of you have kind of experienced this. And I am going to be making a video about this on my second channel, kind of discussing it. But every morning I'll get up at 6 a.m. and I'll see 4 to 5 legendary raids within my radius. And then when I get home from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., I don't see any at all. And that's when everyone can raid. So we just go, hey, is there a raid, anybody? Nope, there's none at the college campus. There's none downtown. There's none here. Well, I guess we're not going to, raid today.
Yeah.
That's what I want to end. This Legendary Lunch Hour, it felt like a little bit of a bonus. But at the end of the day, I would just like to see more spawns in general. I think that would help out the rural community at least. Actually, everybody in general,
One of our patrons, Terry Wolf, great supporter of all the podcasts, actually.
Oh, yes.
came up with a brilliant fucking idea. He goes, all right, legendary lunch hour is great. We need legendary happy hour. 5 to 6 p.m. raids.
Ooh.
You know, like how that's when the spawns get turned up. And I was like, oh
that's
shit,
actually
legendary
really smart.
happy hour. That's really
It actually
funny.
has a ring to it, doesn't it?
I know. That's what I said. I go, I think you're onto something, man. He goes, yeah, we'll all get shit-faced and go raiding.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
I would love to see there be more spawns in the afternoon. Like I said, like if you've got people who want to raid and want to give Niantic money, give them the opportunity to give Niantic money. Niantic, if you were listening and you want to make more money, have more spawns in the afternoon so that we can actually raid it. I don't know what's going on with that, but some people have told me who live in Europe that they don't experience the same problems as we do in the U.S. So, like, their raids will go to, like, 9 p.m.-ish, maybe even a little bit later, but I guess, like, locally mine, they stop at 7, so the latest you could potentially raid is 8 p.m.
Yeah, we're pretty much wrapped up around 7:15 here, and this has been a hot topic on Twitter actually within our community, and we're talking about extending the raid hours and maybe doing like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., which would be really great. Yucky Ducky, great YouTuber, mentioned what if sponsored locations, sponsored gyms like Starbucks that could be open till midnight. Let them have host raids all night freaking long because they're open and sponsored. Because you typically hear like, oh, well, we don't want people to congregate at closed businesses.
I saw that on Twitter. That was kind of an interesting conversation to monitor.
I was like, that's a great idea. That like, sure, they want the traffic. They, they're open. They're open for business.
They want the traffic.
Yeah, match it to their business hours. Like, oh, your local Starbucks closes at 11. Great. The raid's at that location. Turn that gym on till 11.
Yeah, that information would definitely be available. And like you said, like that would be amazing. And you could do, tournaments and stuff. We have to really focus our PvP tournaments around Community Day, for example, just because that is the most likely time that the most people will be out at once who would want to play. If you had some fun event like at a Starbucks where you met up from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and you could do a raid there or something and play PvP and just kind of have a fun tournament, that would be an amazing time.
Yeah, they do that with the TCG. That's something that internally and externally, they'll do like little events at GameStop or at Target where they're giving away cards, but then they'll do like a trade and play event or something like that. Something where they'll even send field reps out to kind of represent and set these things up. I think that, that would be really cool. That would be really cool if there's sponsored events like that where they make it more of a destination thing. Hey, come to this location and engage.
Yes.
I think that's pretty cool. And then we also are in the Rayquaza raid weekend right now. It's going to be wrapped up by the time you do hear this podcast.
I blew it again.
Yeah, Melissa did.
God damn it. But you know what?
She's like, I can't wait for the weekend. I really want Rayquaza.
But you know what? I had shit going on all weekend. Mom life.
You can still do it tomorrow. You can still get them tomorrow. I couldn't play all weekend until today. So today was my time to shine. And I got 11 raids in today, which I was very, very happy about. And caught 10 of them. So none of them are good. They're all suck ass. But it'll be good to do 1-for-1 trades with some people and maybe get lucky. But it was great to see people out in droves. There was, the one raid we did after the Tempest Cup that I hosted when we went down to the park in Marine Park in Red Bank. Real nice picturesque area right on the water. There was 46 people at the raid. It was so awesome. It was so cool. Like
Did you get a picture of that?
I was in the car because I was triple parked. It was
oh
like crazy madness.
That's insanity.
But yeah, there was huge groups because like Red Bank was jumping because it's a bar town. So for St. Patrick's Day, it was just absolutely nuts. Like I literally was parked in front of a parking, like I was double parked at a fire hydrant, like in my car rating, bro. It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. But bruh. But no, I think it was really cool. I mean, my Discord was popping off all weekend.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a noticeable increase in people interested. We had like 35 at one raid. Well, I say 35, but 35 accounts at one raid, and that is insane. Like we never see numbers like that. Most of the time, we're rocking 5 or 6 people.
And the irony is, you only need 3 people to do Rayquaza. So it's like so easy. People were kind of down on this event before it came out because they're saying, oh, there's no shiny Rayquaza. I don't think I'm going to be motivated to play. But here we are in the throes of it this weekend, and people are out in force, which is cool, and no stress because you're not worried about getting a shiny.
It's just been so long that people aren't necessarily worried about the shiny because a lot of new players just don't have Rayquaza. A lot of people forget that. There's been a lot of new players coming to Pokemon Go, and they're like, I want to do Rayquaza weekend because I don't have one. It's been a long time since it's been out. So
yeah, it's a full calendar year. Like I was looking at my decks, and the last one I caught was February 22nd. 2018. So it's been, it's been over a year, just over a year. Been a long time. But Adam, what about you, man? What'd you think of the weekend?
If I was able to do any, it was fantastic. No. So my community, this is how awesome they are. They're like, hey, you gonna meet us there at the Arch Bridge? And I'm like, okay, I'll be there. And I show up, and I open the game, and what do you think I saw? A Dialga! A fucking Dialga! And you know what? Nobody told me about it. So I showed up, and I'm like, oh, sweet, it's Dialga, it's not even Rayquaza. So I just left my house for absolutely nothing.
See, that's the bane of the rural player when you gotta drive out and then get that disappointment.
Did you learn your lesson, Adam? That you ask next time before you leave?
No, that's the thing. Bro? That's the thing. They were like, oh, it hatches at, whatever 17 and be there for hatch and blah blah blah. And so I'm on my way and I'm just
and you just assumed it was Rayquaza.
Yeah, and I'm in the chat waiting for people to tell me what it is and nobody's saying anything. I pull up, I open the game, and I'm like, great, it's Dialga. And then there's only 5 of us, because assuming everybody that was there saw it was Dialga, they just left.
You brought up a good point. They should... I don't understand why you would do an event like this and cross-contaminate.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It should have just been Rayquaza. There should have been no discussion whatsoever.
And we just gave everybody a ton of Dialga.
I actually, you said that. We had that happen today, too, where we could, string together 3 or 4 on the college campus that's near me, and we show up not knowing what it's going to be, and then we got 3 Dialgas out of 4, and we're like, all right, well, time to go home. And kind of like you said, it's literally, it's not just, I go walk out. It's, I have to go drive 4 or 5 miles, 6 miles, 10 miles, just to go get to 1 or 2, so... it's like, man, we got to really think about this. We got to really, research it, know what it is, determine if it's worth it. We got to meet up at a certain time because, there's only 5 or 6 people who play. So, I mean, it's definitely unique. And kind of like to bring it back to my channel, that's honestly why I don't cover my gameplay that much, because I don't want to get frustrated on camera or kind of showcase what is happening, because I legitimately just feel like I would just get... angry or be negative if I showcased how I actually play.
Yeah, dude, I respect you for being real and honest like that, because a lot of people don't show that they get fucking frustrated when they get there and it's not what they want. They're like, what, everybody's always showing the peaches and cream. So
no, that's good. You gotta, you gotta keep it real. You gotta keep it real. I think overall the Rayquaza weekend was awesome. Just looking at the activity alone in the Discord was very promising. And there was one point where, I'm in Red Bank, so there's gyms everywhere. And we're at one, rating at one, and we're waiting for the one to pop that's down the road. And it was a Dialga. And it was like you heard 30, 40 people all at once go,
you got to be kidding me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel you on the cross contamination.
Yeah, you've seen that with the Latios, where Palkia jumped out, and you were like,
exactly.
It was in one of Nick's videos. It was like you just heard the disappointment.
I think that one was an accident, but
yeah, that was when someone.
That was
forgot
really
to press
funny
the button.
though. Some people made some funny memes about that.
Jigglypuff at the control board, or no, it's Clefairy at that control panel. I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's really it's really funny but it's kind of cool. I mean, at the end of the day, people get mad about that, but it is kind of cool to look back on that stuff, because we can sit here and kind of reminisce on it. Like, oh, do you remember that one time that we were waiting for this raid boss and then everyone got disappointed at once. Oh, that was hilarious.
Good times. It sucked.
times.
Good
Good
times.
times. Yeah.
Womp womp.
All right, let's talk about this article really quick that Pokemon Go Hub put together. I don't want to spend too much time on it because we are running a little long, but it was a great article and it kind of got me thinking. And the name of the article is "Why Do You Play Pokemon Go?" And what the article does is it kind of talks about all the different play styles that people kind of pursue in Pokemon Go. And it's like kind of saying like, hey, what kind of trainer are you? You know, are you looking to complete your Pokedex? Are you looking for IVs? You know, trying to find shinies? You know, trying to short man raids? You know, what are your goals out of the game? XP, PvP, running gyms, AR photos, you know, the social aspect, all these different things. And it got me thinking. Now, this could be good and bad because I know plenty of people in my community that only do raids. They don't want to grind. They don't want to catch. They don't want to trade. They don't want to do PvP. All they want to do is raid, like tap and
That's
go.
so boring.
But that's their thing. Now, this is my point. Okay, so you have those people, and that's their thing. That's how they choose to engage with the game. They spend money on the game. It's great. They're doing, you know, it's good for them. But they isolate themselves from a lot of the other parts of the game. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because that's how they choose to engage in the game.
True.
But when I'm looking at like a bullet point list of how do you play the game, it gets me thinking like, oh shit, there really is a lot of like subgrouping.
Little subsets, yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of made me think like, well, what can we do to kind of bridge the gaps between these types of players? How can we get the people that just want to, you know, run a raid train giggity all day for like, you know, 10 hours just doing raid and not taking a break, you know, just like really hitting it hard like that. How do we get them to slow down and stop and like do 40 trades in a row to try to get some luckies or something like that? Like they just won't do it.
No, you can't. You can't get people. The reason why there's so many subcategories is because people are stubborn and they want to play the way that if you only have a limited amount of time to play, you want to maximize your enjoyment. And you're going to fucking play it the way you want to play it, which is why I didn't even turn on the game until fucking 2 hours ago.
Typical.
And I love Pokemon.
We're sitting
Don't
there
get me
before. She's
wrong.
like, oh shit, I haven't turned the game on today.
I love Pokemon. I've always loved Pokemon, but I'm not the kind of person that is going to turn on the game every single day. And I'm not going to get mad or sad when I miss my 7-day streak. But you know what? When I do get that 7-day streak, I'm happy as fucking hell. And that's what the game is about for me. For some people, it's about seeing those numbers go higher and higher and higher. For some people, it's being that level 40 times fucking 10,000.
Oh, yeah, you gotta put that on your Twitter account. Level 40 times 22.
You know, like,
and my gosh.
It doesn't matter what it is, as long as people are enjoying it. And
they're engaging in the game, right? Like
Exactly.
that's
Well, that's the deal. It's just so diverse. It brings together just such a wide variety of people who are interested in Pokemon. But I do have a question for all of you. If you had to categorize yourself as a particular type of player, what would it be?
Yeah, see, and that's where I was kind of stumping myself. Is because I'm the rushed guy. Like I have the game on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I'm never as engaged with the game as I want to be. But the shit is always on.
Because you're hardcore addicted. You're the hardcore grinder. Like,
well, that's why I'm
see,
obsessed.
Ken does like
He's the obsessed.
evolution parties. He's worried about all that stuff, and I'm more of I like my shinies, I like my IV hunting, and I like sometimes taking pictures. I'm like that's like the least. But
yeah, that's probably the lowest for me too. But there's a group of people who just want to do like AR plus.
Yeah.
And exercise is coming into the picture a little bit more.
Yep.
Because I'm realizing that like I do want to hit that 50. That
I haven't
goal.
been able to do it just yet. That is a goal of mine for sure. I definitely want to hit that at some point.
well, summer's coming.
Yeah.
We'll be outside more.
Yeah, if I was able to like go out and just like run or walk, several miles, like I just do it. But it's like,
I think this is a cool conversation. Let us know. Email us, info@luredup.com. Hit us up on social media. Let us know what you think of this. Let us know what your favorite ways to engage with the game are. And are you a person that is okay pigeonholing yourself into one of these categories, or do you kind of dip your toe in all of these categories? Because like I kind of do, I'm into all this stuff, and it's like I do tons of PvP, I do tons of gyms, I love taking AR photos, like I do all this shit. But it's like I could definitely see how it could be very comfortable to just kind of slide into one of these categories and just live in that space. And there ain't nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But it's just interesting of how can we bridge these gaps.
I don't think the gaps need to be bridged. I think Pokemon and Niantic are doing perfect with giving as many different people as many different ways to experience the game as possible on their own level.
Once they give people the ability to play with their Pokemon,
like,
that's a
take
whole
them
other
out
subculture,
and forget about it. It's over. It's over. No. I won't ever because for me, it'll literally be about catching one of everything, and I will not care about having multiple ones or 100% ones. Like,
you just want to do belly rubbings. Cool.
Exactly. Let me pet them. Let me watch them dance around. That makes me happy. If I can get if I could take a selfie of me with my said Pokemon.
Yeah, we need selfie mode.
That's what I need. Yeah, that'll be a game changer.
We need
for
selfie
me.
Yeah, where how like Smeargle is, but you just have the Pokemon that sticks their face out.
Yeah. No, or something like that. Yeah,
exactly. Like
wait.
when you're taking a selfie
Niantic,
of yourself and then you
idea.
get photobombed by a random Pokemon. That would be so fucking fun.
Yeah. Then you're taking pictures of yourself.
I think Ken comes at it from the same perspective that I do, where it's because you've played so many different ways, you know how amazing so many parts of the game are. And it's one of those things where you're like, hey, you should try something else because there are so many amazing things you could try. You just want to like include people and just let them know that there are so many other like facets to the game. But like, several people have said, people are just kind of stuck in their ways, and I don't know I don't know what it is. It would take something. PvP was positioned for it, but it just didn't work out. Friendship to some extent kind of bridges the gap because of people.
I think AR Go Snapshot really opened the door where you had so many people that were never into like photography or anything like that before. It just really became like this massive influx of people creating art, which I thought was awesome because it just became so accessible. So yeah, it's just it is an interesting one. It should create a good dialogue. But touche, yeah, people are in their ways, and maybe they don't have to cross the bridge. That's the beauty of it, I guess.
Exactly. You cross the bridge if you want to. It's not necessary.
All right, couple emails I want to run through really quick. We got a great email from Joey. It says, hey, Lured Up team, came across your show while listening to another Pogo podcast and have been binging since. If I wasn't on my phone, I would write out a whole novel like the other person that writes in normally. That's probably Atari Alex. Anyhow, I started playing again early January this year. I played at launch and here and there. This year I've fallen in hard and play almost every day. I live in Northeast Los Angeles, and whenever I come across fellow trainers, I try to give them insight on the podcasting Pogo community. Hell yeah, awesome, thank you. I would love to be a part of the street team and help spread the word for your awesome show. Let me know how I can help. Keep up the great work. Joey Sabs, which is his trainer name. Thank you so much, man. And this is a great time to start plugging the street team because Adam is going to be heading up our street team effort. I created a website on our page. It's not fully built yet. It's work in progress, but we are going to have a full-blown street team. If you want to get involved, just check out our page, and we're going to be posting about it in the next couple weeks on social media. But what we're going to do is put together little care packages with some TCG stuff, some perlers, and some promo materials that if you guys want to give out in your community, we will definitely send you a nice little care package. So let us know, and we'll go from there. But thanks so much for the email, Joey. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get the street team going.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I when I worked in the music industry, I was all about
guerrilla
the street
tactics,
guerrilla marketing, man. Like,
it works.
Yeah, it's good shit. Getting there, at GoFest last year, it was amazing how many people we met just like handing them shit. Here's our business card. Let me, you got 5 seconds. Let me sell you this vacuum. It's like,
hey, talk to me. Listen to me.
All right, we got another email here. This one from Skylar. Says, Ken, you did a marvelous job interviewing Jono. You were objective and had all the necessary distance to credit you with the ultimate in journalistic integrity. I thoroughly enjoyed the interview and Jono's perspective. I don't much like the guy, but I found him interesting. Like many, I don't agree with what he's doing and his gameplay style, but that is probably because I never used a joystick and wouldn't even know how to. However, I don't dislike him. I just enjoyed his rant and stories. For all the stories he was telling about the other YouTubers, they could have been legitimate. Doesn't take away from anything they've contributed to their channels or the game. It was just his perspective, and you were there to hear it, which was so enjoyable. Keep up the great interviews, Skylar. Wow,
Thanks,
constructive
dude.
criticism
Thank
about
Yes.
the Jono interview.
Thank you, dude.
No, this is a great email because I think we were talking about it with Zoe last week. There was a shit ton of fallout over the Jono interview, and a perspective like this is great. Like, look, I said in the beginning of the episode, I'm not trying to get people to, my community to necessarily say, hey, I want you to be this guy's fan or anything like that. I'm not, that wasn't the idea. But being able to say, hey, I come to a podcast to be entertained, and I was entertained.
Are you not entertained?
Exactly.
Exactly.
It doesn't necessarily need to go any further. That pogo notwithstanding, it's just fucking entertainment. You know what I mean? The show must go on. So I really appreciate an email like this because, hey, this is entertainment. We are entertainers. So
yes.
it's when it comes down to it, yeah, this is real. We're realistic. And especially with podcasts, you feel a very close connection, with all that. So it is entertainment. And this kind of, pushes that point of, yeah, I don't have to like the guy, but I could like the show he's on. Pretty fucking cool. Great perspective. Really quick, I want to jump over to Go Ranger because there is a ton of dates here that you should be paying attention to.
What's up, everybody? It is Go Ranger Matt, and this is the Go Ranger Check-In.
Rayquaza Raid Weekend is going to be wrapping up. By the time you hear this, it's just wrapped up for you. Dialga Raids, remember, Thursday, March 28th. This is not the end of March. A couple days before the end of the month, Dialga Raids will be going away. This, we knew, when Palkia was around, we kind of had the hunch that Dialga was going to be the next one. Now that Dialga's going away, we got 2 weeks now to speculate on who's going to come next. If you're interested in taking part in a Silph Arena Tempest Cup, you have till the end of the calendar month. And our current research, breakthrough, all that stuff runs through the end of April, so you got plenty of time on that. Equinox event is going to be starting on March 19th. Trico Community Day next Saturday, March 23rd. There's so much shit going on. So much stuff going on.
Events.
Check out Go Ranger. Make sure you guys stay up to date on everything that's going on the calendar. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up our show, guys. We did it.
Wow.
Yay.
Hooray.
Thank
Famous.
you. Yeah.
Thank you, dude.
Thanks so much again for coming on. Why don't you let our community know where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I definitely enjoy talking about this type of Pokemon Go content. As far as where to find me, my main channel is FLW videos on YouTube. That's probably the main focus that I have. But if you are interested in my personal opinions about the game and just some more niche content, I actually have a secondary channel, FLW Videos too, that I would highly recommend you to check out if you are as big of a Pokemon Go fanatic as me. And then thirdly, probably Twitter. I definitely interact as much as possible with my fans, so that's definitely the best way to get in contact with me.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much again for being on. We really appreciate it. Check out luredup.com for everything that we're doing. Email us info@luredup.com.
732-835-8639.
Yes, leave us an inappropriate voicemail. We would greatly appreciate that. Email us info@luredup.com. Leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Android, wherever you can leave a review. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/GottaWatchTheMall. That's it.
Okay, nerd.
All right. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Poke my balls.
Bye.